7:35. We've got Kelly Wampler with us this morning with New Directions. Good morning, Kelly.
Good morning.
It's been a minute since we saw you. It was last year.
It was last year.
It was. Yes, it was last year. New Directions off to a good start for this year.
We are. Everybody's healthy in our office, so that makes it better than some years.
That's exactly right. If you can kick it off with everybody.
If people are healthy, you're like, oh, all right, it's a win.
That's right. Kind of tell us as we jump into 26, what's on the docket for New Directions this year?
Well, starting out of the gate, just the awareness months that are early in the year, which there's a lot of them that happen in the early months, but particularly January is Stalker Awareness Month and February is Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month. So that's a time we would like the community just to be open to discussions about what those two things are. Any awareness month, across the board, particularly in the line of DV, we just want people to have that open conversation about stalking if they're going through situations, have been in it, or continue to be fearful. It's just a discussion. And the same with Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month. It's just an opportunity for parents to speak to their kids, for kids to speak to other kids or adults about things that are happening in their life, and to just ask questions. So when you're following our social or you hear things in the community that pertain to those things, it's a great opportunity just to ask questions. If you have questions that aren't answered by the general public, it's always just a great time to give us a call. Our lines are open 24/7, so no question should go unasked if you have any curiosity about those things.
It really opens the door for conversation, though, as to what that looks like. And I think it's an important fact that domestic violence doesn't just happen as an adult. It can happen in those teen years.
100%. Statistics show that 1 in 3 teens will go through some type of abuse in some type of unhealthy relationship, and it starts as early as 6th grade. So when they're having those early relationships, whether it be with friends or a boyfriend/girlfriend, that those tendencies start very early. So it's never too early to have that discussion, even though it might be uncomfortable. And we've talked in the past. We do the in-school program, and I know some parents are fearful. They're not sure what we're in there talking about, but the foundation of that is creating healthy relationships, being able to set boundaries for yourself, understanding what you want in a relationship and what you don't want in a relationship. And even though we talk a lot about teen dating, those are healthy things for any relationship. In your family and with friends groups. So all of that stuff is good information and good discussion topic.
It's really those building blocks as you mature and progress throughout life that you're kind of laying as you go into the schools and talk about this.
100%. That, and I think it's good for kids to understand if they've grown up in a household where they have seen domestic violence and there hasn't been a resolution to that and they're still exposed to it, it's a great chance to plant that seed of you don't have to continue this. There's an opportunity to break this cycle and start setting boundaries for yourself at this point so that when you are capable to be out on your own, that you're not stuck in that cycle.
Making the choices that will lead to a better outcome for them.
And seeing that there's a different way.
So that is that February's month, or is that
February?
February.
Yeah, February is Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month, and we generally, I'm not sure that we've got those games scheduled or that we have anything on the books, but we will make ourselves available at all 3 of the schools. We usually hand out orange T-shirts or something orange. That's the color of Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month. And we just show up at the games, answering questions, making ourselves visible, talking a little bit about the Teen Council and the importance of being involved in not just the community, but being able to answer questions for friends, being that support. And at each of those Teen Council meetings, those happen every other Tuesday at the branch at 6 o'clock. And they do a little lesson at the beginning and they have open discussion. So Becca will pick a topic about what's going to be discussed. They'll say, hey, let's talk through the scenario. We've in the past tried to have kids come with examples, and sometimes they do, but it's like an uncomfortable conversation to start. So we always just put out, here's a scenario. What would have you experienced this before? have you seen this in a friend group? How should we handle this? And really preparing the kids to be able to talk about it. And they suggested doing role play. Most adults aren't comfortable doing that. And we all, if you're in a meeting, you're like, no,
not
count
me
me out. I don't want to do it. And they said, we just want to be able to answer that question and feel comfortable with the words rolling off of our tongue of, hey, it's not your fault. And we believe you. And I'm here for you. Being able just to practice those. And our group is very committed. And of course, I sing their praises all the time because I'm proud of all of them. And that's a group that's available to the public. So 8th grade is when we take interest, but primarily we want freshmen through senior group that are dedicated to come into those meetings and making a difference.
And that's every other Tuesday they meet?
Correct.
Mm-hmm. So if maybe a parent, or they want to, tell their student about that, can they call the office to get more information?
Absolutely. Yep. And they can follow us on social. There's the teen, of course, I don't have that sitting in front of me right now, but it's ND Teen Council, I think, at Instagram.
Okay.
Or find us on social, give us a call.
Very good. Let's go back to the stalker month. That's January, correct?
Yes.
So sometimes I think there's not a real well-defined, maybe for people to understand what that means, whether it becomes a violent thing or if it's just starting in the beginning. Mm-hmm. Can you kind of go over that a little bit? Sure,
because I think stalking is something that is very serious, but it's something that we also kind of joke about, as we as parents follow our kids around and we're tracking, and there's more tools that are available to know where people are at all times. It's easy to joke about, like, okay, stalker, and
Sure.
we do it in a flippant way. However, somebody who has been through a situation where they have been stalked, where they've been tracked, where they've been monitored, in this day and age, it's very easy to do that. But when somebody has been in that situation in the past, rightfully so, they are very fearful because you never know where that person is going to show up. You may have incessant phone calls from them or drive-bys of the house. Anything that is constantly tracking. And like you said, it may not lead to violence in every situation, but there's definitely an opportunity for that to happen.
I think a lot of times, too, in the beginnings, from my experience out in the world, it's dismissed in the very beginning because it is not
Mm-hmm.
as aggressive, but over time it becomes that way frequently.
Yes. And like many relationships that involve domestic violence, early on, it's a welcome thing for a new relationship. It's the love bombing. It's the flowers. It's the, I get phone calls all throughout the day. I have text multiple times. So there's a transition that happens in there where what we tell our teens a lot is when you start getting that gut feeling that, like, this is a little too much or this is uncomfortable, it just doesn't feel right. We don't always verbalize it because we don't want to be that person who's making a big deal out of nothing. But it's always important to listen to your gut. And if you choose not to make something out of it at that time, it's a great time to start tracking the feelings that you're having. So keeping that small journal that says, this started happening, the phone calls are this, I got questioned about this, and I don't want to make something out of it, but just making note so when you do have to look back, it's easy to see the frequency and the severity of how things have changed over the course of a month or a couple of months. And be like, yeah, I'm not crazy, and this has gotten worse, and these things have been said. I wasn't making them up, or this is how it made me feel. And just keeping track of that. Stalking particularly, that is one that is not always easy to prove, which makes it also a difficult and dangerous situation.
Sure.
So it is always great to keep track of in some type of ledger or via text or phone records or whatnot, if it does pass that point of where it could be dangerous, making sure you have that type of evidence.
All right, so January, Stalker Awareness Month, February, Teen Dating Violence Month.
Yes.
All right.
Both of those, like I said, just a great opportunity to have discussion with community members, your kids, coworkers. If you notice tendencies, it's just a great time to have discussion.
It's an open door these 2 months to just walk right
It
through.
is. And I mean, I've said since I've been coming in here, that was one thing that we wanted to be very bold about, is that no topic should be taboo. If it is a concern that you have about your safety or how a relationship that you're in is working, let's talk about it. There's nothing to be ashamed of. There's nothing that should be, off of the table. We want to talk about it. You shouldn't be in a situation where you feel uncomfortable, unheard, unseen, or that feeling like you're alone. That's why our phone lines are open 24/7, and there's really not much we haven't seen or heard. So nothing is a surprise. Nothing is going to be judged. So just pick up the phone, and whether it be with a friend or us, have the conversation and get the feelings out there. In both situations, both in the Teen Awareness Month and the Stalking Awareness Month, it is important for somebody else to know what you have going on in your life. We always say we don't know what's going on behind closed doors, and that's true. But when you feel like you could possibly be in jeopardy, we think of stalking as like we're going to be walking down an alley and some stranger's going to be stalking us. That's not it. It's somebody tracking you on your 360, putting a tracking device on your vehicle, just knowing where you are at all times. And it is important that I say, hey, I'm on my way home right now, and you're expecting somebody to be looking for you.
Yes.
Or in a work situation. I'm going out to my car, I'm leaving for lunch, but this has been kind of weird, and it's making me uncomfortable. It's good for somebody else. They don't have to know all the details, but to just know and be.
Or even if you have that one person you can go to, that's your constant.
Yes. Yeah. And a lot of times I think we as family members like to say, hey, I'll always be here for you, but we have to recognize that our close siblings and our children don't always want us to have those details. So I think it is important for people to know there's people outside of our knit circle who actually do have our best interest at heart and who aren't going to judge and put you through all the questions, but just really say, okay, let's talk through what a safety plan would look like. Let's talk through avenues of keeping yourself safe, and in the case that you have children in your home, making sure that they know what the safety plan is. How do we get to a safe location? Who do we call? What does that look like? Those are conversations we don't always think that we need to have, but it never hurts. It never hurts to be prepared for something, whether it's going to happen or not.
New Directions, you guys you're there 24/7. So if someone is out there and they're listening and they're thinking, okay, it's time for me to take that step. What are some things, number one, that you guys can help them with if they're in a situation, be it stalking, be it violence, whatever it may be, and then how can they get a hold of you guys?
Sure. So just to recap, for 2025, our numbers came in, and in just Decatur County, we helped 218 adults. So the first message is nobody's alone out there. There are 218 individuals that we helped in Decatur County who were new to our system. Collectively, they had 325 children, and 10 of those individuals that we helped were men. So across the board, we helped those individuals with safe housing, things like they may already have a protective order. If not, we could help them with a protective order. Excuse me. We do court accompaniment. So if they are having to go in front of the judge, we're there just as a support person. Excuse me. We do DV education. We offer support groups. In a situation where somebody is actually leaving a situation and they are trying to start fresh on their own, we have helped with first month's rent, being an advocate for housing for them, being an advocate, with law enforcement, anything that they would have to go through. It's just walking hand in hand with them, so they're not doing it alone. And you're familiar with this, but we've met people, if they have those questions and they can't break away or they can't stop into our office, we've come to their place of work. We've come to their doctor's appointments. We've met them in the ER. We do emergency response and sexual assault response at the hospital. There's honestly nothing that anybody in a DV situation could be going through that we can't offer some type of support.
And a lot of times when they're in that situation and they're wanting to leave, they feel very alone, or they think their family's not going to believe them. So having somebody to go to and be there it's a huge step for them to have that.
Absolutely. And a simple phone call never hurts anyone. So it's always best just to ask the question. And you can always reach us at 812-662-8223. Like I said, 24/7, 812-662-8223. Ask the question. Even if you're not ready to leave a situation, it's always great to know what your options are. You may not have your ducks in a row yet. You may just be contemplating. And those are all fine. But know that the earlier you engage someone else, the more support you're going to have throughout the process. And our role as DV advocates is not to pressure anyone to do anything. It's simply to say, where are you in your relationship? Where are you in this process? And we're going to support you where that is. So if you choose to stay with your abuser, we're going to work with you on how to do that most safely. What's the backup plan? How are we going to instruct the kids? Like, what does it look like? And if you choose to leave, then great. How do we get the pieces of your puzzle to start fitting together so that you can ensure that you have a safe future? So there's never a pressure in that conversation. You can call and ask a question. We're happy to address any of those types of situations and questions.
I think, too, going back to that 218 number, and no matter what avenue you work in, be it DV, be it healthcare, be it whatever, we always hear that we don't have domestic violence, we don't have homeless, we don't have, but that number right there shows that it is here in Decatur County. That is not a made up number. That is
100% actual numbers, which if you factor that out, that's about 4 new clients a week. Those are, like I said, we said just here in Decatur County, and those are only the ones who have come through our door. There are multiple calls that the police station responds to, that the sheriffs respond to, that we never have contact with. It is not our role to reach out to anyone who's in that situation. They do have to reach out to us. So these are only the people who have actually sought help.
Taken that step.
Yeah. And we know statistically, it's 1 in 4. I mean, there are far greater people who are experiencing domestic violence to some degree who are not seeking help. And that is the objective in all of the awareness months and everything that we do in all of our interactions with the community, is just to know that there are resources available and we are here to help in any way.
You guys also, a big step last year, going to be transitioning where you're currently located. Is that still on the docket?
Potentially. It is. We're still in the midst of construction, and
it's a lot, isn't it?
It is so much. I question my sanity, but we will get through it. It's going to be amazing when it gets done, but still in the early stages. So we did talk, there will be a capital campaign rolling out at some point once we have the specifics of everything that we need. But on that note,
yes,
because in everything that we do in the nonprofit world, money is a thing. We usually just have sponsorships for our Wine and Roses event that happens later in the year. And this year we are rolling out our community partner sponsorship level. And that is just to tag people early. So early on, we've put out this $2,500 sponsorship level that gives our sponsors recognition. Anytime that we have an opportunity to be in the public, they will be recognized. They'll be added to our Facebook page and our website. We'll do a small video clip to highlight their business, and they will get 4, when we do our Easter egg extravaganza, they'll get 4 addresses that'll get the 96 eggs. So whether they choose to keep that for themselves, if they give it to employees, and then they'll also get a certificate of appreciation, but the table at Wine and Roses. But it gives us a chance to highlight those great community partners throughout the year, and we're very grateful. We have early supporters of that. First, as soon as Blake got the letter from us, he was like instantly. Absolutely. Sign us up. So AmeriFoods are a great supporter of us, and we want to thank them, and as well as the Decatur County REMC. So we do have letters of this level of sponsorship out to some community partners, and we are just seeking that level of sponsorship to push us through 2026. We have several meetings coming up right now about our funding and the way that the federal grants are working, and there's cuts across the board. So those who like to give back, those who will like to be involved, it's a great time to do that because funding's getting cut for everyone across the board.
The not-for-profit
So
world is tough.
it is rough.
It's that money. I always tell people there is not one dime that is 100% guaranteed for the next year.
And when you think, okay, this will be fine, what we're doing here is important. It's not going to be everything that everyone does is important, and we're just one of many that are under scrutiny. I mean, it's across the board. So absolutely, you cannot take anything for granted, and we do run year to year. So every year it's kind of up for dibs, and they expect those cuts to be significant this year. So
if you've got a dime to give it.
Please, and thank you.
Very good. Once again, New Directions, you guys doing great work. You're going to be with us every other month, I think. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes, unless something wild happens, and then
we want to know.
I'll call you, and
That's
we'll
right.
be like, let's do it.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, once again, your phone number in case someone wants to get in contact.
812-662-8223.
All right, social media, you guys are on it as well. Able to find you there.
Easy to find on Facebook and Instagram.
All right. Thanks for being with us this morning. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
All right. It's 8:56. Up next, we've got Today in Country Music History.